coming along tonight as the autumn nights begin to come into life and the whole mind state begins to change from a summer to an autumnal phase. I am an artist and a writer. Some of my art's around here, and my writing is primarily in 2 books. And this was one of my earliest bits of artwork I did, and writings, and it's never left me. It's always kind of felt, for me, significant. And it was as much a message to myself as it is or was for anybody else. And it was to be not timid with your love, because basically no great life ever happened without it. But I'll put a rider on now. Your happiness is dependent upon it. I hope to, by the end of this hour-ish session, to persuade, enliven, enthuse, allow you to remember something about the heart that you may have forgotten. I believe it is a profound component within the human system, if you like, and a gateway to perhaps more than we can easily know. So that was my task, and I lay it plainly before you all, so you can put a little tick, 9 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 at the end, to see how far I got in trying to get this across. Are you ready? Yes. Yep. Okay. This journey started quite a few years ago in the construction of this book, which is called The Sacred You. There you go. And I wanted to sort of pin down and simplify how we work, how the system is. How can I really wanted to do it for myself. I thought, I'm fed up. I've done 20 years in a mystery school. I've studied this, studied that. Tons of knowledge, you know, enough knowledge to fill up many bookshelves. But I was still unable to get something workable for myself. So I thought, sod it, I'm going to try and simplify something that I couldn't escape from. So I set about trying to organise and sort out what it means to be human. Big task. I was courageous in those days. And I called it The Sacred You because I believe we are sacred. And it's only our unawareness of that fact that inhibits so much of what we could be. And how to be your own saviour, because I also see it fundamentally true that we are made to be so. You can wait for the postman to save you or a nice bit of income, but really in the end it will always be ourselves who has to save ourselves. I think this is true. But a more realistic title would have been, what the fuck is going on? I should have named it that at the first Anyway, so I thought, okay, here I am the human, where do I start to kind of get hold of this thing that is human? And I thought, right, okay, the first step is there's a lot going on. We've got our world inside, emotions, thinkings, intuition, love. We've got stuff outside like friends, parents, relationships, washing up. Tons of things inside, tons of things outside. It's kind of complex being a human. And then to top that off, we've got what we're dealing with. And we do have, it is said, about 60,000 thoughts a day, which is a lot of thinking. Thinking about Monday's challenges, criticism, thoughts of the future, sharing, job, and all these things. So we're dealing with a lot as a human, and it makes life more complex. You know, I look at my cat and I see it so chilled out. And I think, God, I could do with being a cat. It seems to be in heaven, where my mind's over here, this is over there. It's not so easy. So we've got what we're dealing with, and we've also got what we're doing it with. Perhaps we're doing it with stress or happiness or fear or compassion or depression. We're dealing with challenges or thoughts of the future or boredom. again, it's getting a complex picture. And to top that all off, we have why we're doing it. We may be doing it because we want to be famous. We may be doing it because we feel inferior. We may be doing it because it's Monday, or whatever. But we have a why we're doing it. We have a what we're doing it, and what we're tackling. So this seems to me very much like a game of chance. I wake up on a Monday morning, roll the dice, and see how it goes. At least I can certainly understand that. That's how it feels sometimes. So how do I make sense of all this? How do I work? How can I start to see where do I go to make sense of this kaleidoscope of being a human? The first step, so how do we make sense of this, who we are that is doing what we do? How can we discern our core parts of ourselves, create a simple picture that helps us understand who we are and why we do what we do? Where do we start? Awareness, I decided, was a good kick-off point. I'm aware. I'm aware of people, aware of atmospheres, aware it's Monday. Awareness, right, okay. That's definitely part of being a human. I've got this faculty of awareness. I can cope with that, that's simple. Again, remember, I'm trying to create a simple picture that I can use. Not some big philosophical book that I find confusing. I need something simple and manageable. So then the question, okay, Toby, fine, awareness. The question is, what influences our awareness and where does it come from? Okay, so I've got awareness, but it changes, it gets influenced by things. Some days I'm aware of something, some days I'm aware of another. What changes my awareness? Reasonable question. And the answer is my attitude. So I've now got two components in this story. I've got an awareness, and I've got an attitude that changes or causes my awareness. I can walk down the street with one attitude one day and see certain things through awareness, and another day a different attitude and see different things. So two components. Okay, that's fine. We're going to go at this a bit of a pace. I hope that's all right, because I want to get to the heart bit, which is kind of core. Awareness and attitude. Then the question is, what causes our attitudes? Reasonable question. What causes our attitudes? So I certainly get them, and I've certainly built them. But where do they come from? What causes them? And it's my state of mind. My state of mind determines my attitudes. My attitudes determine my awareness. I'm now beginning to fill out this picture of why I do what I do and what causes me to be what I am. So far, so good, I think. Now the next question is, what makes up my mind? What makes me mindful of some things and not mindful of others? Now this one is a little more subtle. And it's to do with the reason why we do what we do. This causes the mind to be conscious or to be concerned with. It's what is important to it that fills the mind, be it money, social acceptability, our own well-being. We become mindful about it because of what it means for us. So whatever the reasons we have created about what we see and do, fill the mind and become the driving force that creates our attitudes and our awareness. It's been said quite reasonably that why we do what we do is really a kind of the core of the law of attraction of us. It's the signal behind the look. It's the attitude that's coming from the person is why they do what they do. So why I do what I do, the reasons behind it fill the mind. That's what the mind listens to. In fact, there's a nice card up there somewhere that says the mind doesn't listen to what we're thinking, it listens to why we're thinking it. That's the kind of, it's what it's getting from all our rattlings on during the day. Okay, that's fine, I think that's reasonable, I thought to myself, but then the question is, what builds our reasons, the why we do what we do? Again, a reasonable question, and this is the two biggest components. the main instigators of why we do what we do are our emotions and our thinking. I am not my emotions, although my emotions are a part of me. I am not my thinking, although sometimes I find it hard to believe, but my thinking is a part of me. The difference between thinking and emotions, thinking is the circuitry, and the emotions is the power floating along the circuitry. But what we think and how we feel about what we think is a very powerful core engine of us. If we don't care, it don't matter. But if we do care, if we have emotion about it, it powers the thought patterns. So these two, the emotions and the thinking, are core to this group of aspects of ourselves. Does that make reasonable sense so far? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me just check the time. Oh, goodness me. I cheated. Oh no. No. I'd like to do a couple of short meditations within this process that you might find useful. As I said, how we think and what we feel are really quite punchy for us. They are flavoursome, they are the highways through much of the process and traffic that we have. So what I'd like you to do, if you wouldn't mind, is a little small practical meditation. It'll take about 4 minutes. Are you up for that? Yeah. If you'd like to relax and uncross your legs, find yourself in a comfy position. You may have asked this question to yourself. If not, you might find it useful as a question to ask yourself. And the question is, are you ready? Okay, the question is, how would you like to feel about you when you think of you? You can close your eyes just for a minute, just to think, or rather feel of an answer. It needs to be a realistic answer. It needs to be a simple answer. And above all, it needs to be your answer. So the question is, how do you want to feel when you think of you? So we're looking to untangle and create some emotions and thinkings that can work for you. It needs to be simple. It needs to be for you, your words. It needs to work for you. What feeling would you like to have when you think of you? Okay, I'm now going to ask you a second question to do with this little process. And this is a little bit more hard work, okay, if you've actually got to put your thinking cap on this one. Because the question is, how do you need to think of you to allow that feeling to happen? How do you need to think of you for that feeling that you wish to have happen? This is creating a self-affirmation. So it needs again to be simple. Some set of words that are your words. How do you need to think about you to allow the feeling that you'd like to have happen? This is called being your own saviour stuff. You can use someone else's words, but it's often better if they are your own. There need to be some words that you can write on a stick-it note and put on your fridge, and on a grumpy Monday morning, it still means something. You know the kind of words I mean. You've got to be nitty-gritty enough, useful enough, true enough, powerful enough, mean something to you enough that it can get past the grumpy mornings, Mondays, or Thursday, whatever is your grumpy day. What thinking do you need to have about you so now the things that you wish to have happen, happen? Give you just half a minute more to finish off and have some sentence, short sentence, that works for you. Your sentence, no one else needs to know. Okay, when you're ready, open your eyes. We'll get back on. So that's where do we go from here? Okay. We've got that. So we're building up these components, these faculties of ourselves, looking to see what they do and how they interact. Now, the question now is what we think about and what we feel because of it creates the flavours and meanings we give to life. They create the story of who we tell ourselves about who we are and create the meaning of our life. But what are the main influences on our thinking and emotions? What other energy, faculty, component, being a human, do we have? And it is habit. The habitual process. It's very powerful. Someone once said it was 90% of what we think today we've already thought yesterday. It's a very powerful engine habit, and it does. We do think the same thoughts and have the same feelings that we did yesterday. But of course, the habit can be utilised for our own benefit, like an affirmation is breaking the habit. So these are the pieces, and they can work very quickly. They can all be mixed up. It can be whenever I see awareness, I always think of habit. It makes me think of whatever it is because of how I feel about it, because of what it means to me. So these faculties are aspects of us are constantly going on. And that was my simple picture of the human. And I thought, this guy, I can work with that. I can see these bits. A bit like taking the mind apart. But there's one other faculty or aspect of us that wasn't in that. Any idea what it is besides the heart? Because obviously that's going to be there somewhere. Any ideas for that? Another one of these aspects of us that makes us who we are, that shows us what we... Sorry?
Culture?
Culture?
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's kind of imbued into the habit and emotions.
Gut instinct?
Sorry?
Gut instinct?
Sorry?
Gut instinct?
Close. Yes. I can.
Intuition?
Intuition. Which is a faculty, it's a powerful faculty. You can look at another person, receive volumes of information just in a look. And not to be dismissed as casual or child's play. Our intuition knows a huge amount. And I take these to be servants. Heroes and villains, if you like, of me. But the question arose, well, what do they serve? I'm not my thinking, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my habit, but they are a part of me for sure, but what do they serve? And I drilled down, and I thought about it, and the only way I could come to an answer was to say that it is something to do with the inner life, the heart. Now, I wasn't a very heart-type person, I was a very head-type person. And I suppose you could call me a reformed sinner because I've got hearts all over the place now. And I'm convinced that the heart is more than I thought it was. Not only more than I thought it was, but actually it's a faculty of perception. Now, I am a great believer in what Gandalf said, that it's not the great powers that hold darkness at bay, it's the small, simple acts of folk. And I think that's true. I think humanity and the like, which are heart qualities, are powerful, more powerful than we realise. But there is more to the heart, or there's an aspect of the heart that I'm talking about that is even more than that. And that's what we're going to go towards. So the heart. Okay. But we've got to recognise that this battle between the heart and the head is a big battle. You're now sitting in that seat, and this morning you got out of bed, and the amount of thinking, reasoning, comparison, sorting, planning, organising that happened in the head for you to get where you are now is phenomenal. You know, program a computer for that lot, you'll be there for years and years and years. So the head has been heavily orchestrated and used, and we need it. You try and get dressed without the faculty of the head. Couldn't happen. If you just did it with emotions, you'd probably never bother. So the head is being a powerful thing in the body. It's pumped, if you like. And of course it's paid well. If you're good at thinking, reasoning, comparison, sorting and planning, you get lots of dosh. And that is what a lot of people chase. So money and head go together. There's not much money in heart. So we are trained at school and in the workplace to do a serious amount of thinking and sorting and planning. You know, you go into a room, you immediately start measuring, comparing, analysing, sorting, working out, meet someone, are they good, bad, better, worse, is it hot, well, small, drier, are they nearer, closer, it just goes on and on and on. The head is an incessant piece of machinery. Now, bless it, it's only a servant, and I love it lots, but it doesn't half go on. And all this head stuff has made it the master and the heart the servant. I suppose this is my core question, or core statement, that the heart has become the servant to the head, and the head has become the master. And I know I need to recognise it regularly, because it should be that the heart says, I love this of life, and the head says, fine, I'll sort it for you. But it doesn't quite work like that. You can do it that way around, if you can let yourself know what you truly love of life. We don't often do that. I mean, this is like talking in front of the mirror and saying, hello Toby, I want you to know that I really love this, an aspect of life. That's you talking to you stuff, you know, and that's good. It helps you know what you don't know you want to know, if you see what I'm saying. So the head, or the heart rather, the head and the heart battle, I'm not sure it's fair. I mean, the head's only doing its job. I don't think it does feel like a battle. But we need to remember that the head is only a part of it. Now nowadays, the heart is a lot more considered than it was 20 years ago, 50 years ago even. Those of you being around a bit and grey hair like me will know that, back in the 50s and stuff, it was the serious head, not much heart. More and more heart stuff coming in, even in the COVID pandemic. What words came out was be kind, and kind of born out of some kind of heart sense. I don't think that's arbitrary, but I've got to be careful I don't rattle on too much, because we've got quite a few things to perhaps have a look at. So this is the heart. Okay. Right. I'll read that one out. Those that want to get to see it. in bringing the heaven that is held within our heart to earth. We fulfill the promise we made for this lifetime. There was a woman who worked in palliative care, and she worked there for years, and she decided to ask these people who are on the edge of life, you know, nearly dying, so to speak, what their top regret was. What do they regret most about their life? And that's a serious, heavy question to ask someone who's on the verge of kicking a bucket. You're not going to get some namby-pamby answer out of that kind of question from the person in that situation. But she did. She asked these people, and she wrote a very famous book called The Top 5 Regrets of Dying People. And the top regret was that they wished they'd been more true to themselves. I find that sobering and slightly frightening. I really don't want to get to my deathbed thinking, oh, fuck it, I wish I'd been more truer to myself. You know, that sounds like, wow, not for me. But there the question is, where do we go in ourselves to find this truth of who we are that we would not want to live without? This part of us that would make us happy, would make us feel fulfilled, gives us meaning for life. You know, the Kalahari Bushmen had talking of two hungers, the hunger of food and the hunger of meaning. And this is talking about the hunger of meaning. And this is why I said the writer at the very beginning was, be not timid with your love, for no great life happens without it. But also, no happiness can happen unless you have your heart in what you are and do. This would be my, So there is something in us that is worthy to live, and something that we would not want to live without. And the only place that can happen or be from is the heart. If you can tell me another one, I've been trying to pursue this for quite a few years. I've talked to people, and it keeps on coming back to the heart. I don't mind somebody says, no, it's the left elbow. Okay, I'll discuss it with you. But if that's true, that makes whatever this heart is more significant than I realised. And I think it's true. Right. Okay. Reasonable so far? Okay, now I'm going to go into, if that wasn't heavy enough, it's a little bit heavy. This next one's even heavier, because the question is, what stops our heart? What stops us being in the heart? What inhibits our heartfelt response to life? If this heart is so magnificent, why can't we just sort of be heart? Yeah? The quality of heart is love, no doubt. Yep. And the opposite of love, fear. Fear is the opposite. It's the opposite energy. You can't put them together. You can't love in fear, and you don't love fear in love. Something like that. They're two opposite energies. So the more fear we carry, the less space or room or inclination of love that can happen. Now, yeah, there are big fears like fear of death and fear of not having enough money and tons of big fears, but there's lots of little fears. And its siblings of fear are anxiety and stress. This is why having a good bubble bath and going for a walk in nature is paramount. Because it lets go of some of that anxiety and stress, and you need to let go of it to give your heart a chance to be there for you. At least that's my philosophy. And we've got to look after ourselves so we can be heartful. Now, yeah, being heartful for other people is profound and great stuff, but I'm also talking about it for ourselves. I believe the heart is a door to a deeper part of ourselves. So yeah, fear we've always learned. We've always loved. Fear is something we've learned. Ancient Egyptian pyramid texts actually say the words that fear eats the heart. That's kind of uncomfortable. I don't like some of the idea of something chewing away at my heart. I was in a cafe doing some work, and there's some builders going on, drills and stuff, and it was terribly noisy. After a half an hour, I didn't notice it that much, and after 3/4 of an hour, I didn't notice it at all. Then an hour and a half later, it stopped suddenly, and my whole body went, wow. I didn't realise the tension I carried in its presence. And that is the same of fear, anxiety and stress. When we can let go, the body goes, fuck you, man, this is all right. So to find ways that cause you to be able to go, is very, very important. It's not just nice, it's important, if that makes sense. So, fear. Now, what's our timing, Sammy, Dave?
What's the time now? Yeah, it's 7:45, so we've got plenty of time.
What time do we definitely have to finish?
What time do we have to finish, Dave?
1:30.
1:30?
Oh, fine, okay. Well, we'll probably finish before then. Right. Now, fear, anxiety and stress makes us feel fragile. Makes us feel as if we can... This is a recap. Just in case you're not paying attention. Heart, don't forget heart, that's important. Fear. Okay. We're getting ticked right on this. Anxiety and stress, fear, fragility, sense of fragility. And we do, I've noticed it myself, go around with a sense of fragility. And it's a feeling I can be hurt or broken. So you kind of protect. You know, you get your armour on and stuff like that because of the fragility. Now, yeah, you can't, you do need to look after yourself, you need to protect yourself from being hurt, of course. But when and if you start to, how do I put this? When you start to wish to know yourself more, and that's, yes, it's a kind of little hello in the mirror stuff, but it's also maybe more than that. You make your meditation, then you allow yourself to be who you are and just accept it, you know, this kind of stuff. You will come across a feeling of vulnerability. Now, let me just move this along. Yeah, vulnerability and fragility. And vulnerability and fragility are two kind of different aspects. They can feel the same, but I found it very important to recognise that they're different. Fragility is produced by fear, and vulnerability actually is a quality from love. It's an openness. Fragility makes a closeness. Now, vulnerability and fragility, do not confuse the two. One lives in fear, and the other love, and it's only love that can dissolve the illusion of fear. I'm not saying take your vulnerability up the high street, but I am suggesting that you allow yourself to be vulnerable to yourself. And that's not easy. It's not easy, but so, so rewarding. You'll be surprised what is in that vulnerable state, which is a true openness, it's a true acceptance. Within our vulnerability, there is an indomitable strength, because it's actually honest. Being honest to yourself and being open to that honesty is mega powerful. We're talking the bee's knees of something like that. Yeah. Okay. Right, so we're trying to get to knowing the heart. But it's not necessarily that easy to know. The heart is not a place of vain morality or oughts or shoulds. This is not the heart that I'm talking about. But we can have a chance to know our heart, and we will know our heart. Or let me put this, try and make sense of my rambling. You can't know your heart through your own inhospitality. I can't even say the word inhospitality. How do you say it? Inhospitality. Come on, I'm dyslexic in my speech sometimes. Inhospitality. What was that? Inhospitality. No, didn't say.
What about hospital?
This is like a game, isn't it? You know what I mean, don't you? Inhospitality. I'll never live this down. We can't know our heart if we are inhospitable. Yes. I thought a very famous, profound picture. It was a picture of a father with his dead Palestinian son on his lap. And I wrote at the top of that, we can't expect the end of war until we cease the war within ourselves. And I believe that fundamentally is so true.
Could you tell me what this word means?
Sorry?
Could you elaborate on that word, please?
Oh, elaborate on it.
On the word.
On the words.
No, on the word, I don't understand the word.
The words. Yeah, we can't expect the end of war.
No, I mean the word itself.
Inhospitable.
Inhospitality means not nice.
Oh,
Being agitated. Being grumpy.
Close down.
Huh?
Close down.
Shut the door, piss off, don't want to know, grumpy. All that stuff we do to ourselves is a barrier between us and our heart. So knowing your heart, you've got to somehow get through this. I'd love to say the word again, but I'm not even going to try. I'll have to practice before I come and do this next time.
You have to spell it out. Make it into a song.
Okay.
What's the opposite?
Knowing the heart. Yeah.
Hospitality.
Let's see what it says. The struggle to live from the heart. To be and speak the truth of ourselves is not a casual thing. It is a profound journey of being human. And it's a purpose that has been carried for thousands of years. And we think, here I am, I'm struggling to live my heart, trying to, and it's not just you. It's core of whatever it is to be a human, is that journey to release your heart into life, I believe. And it's been going on for thousands of years. Even the Romans on the Roman wall with his freezing whatevers had that feeling. And I believe it is a profound core meaning within being a human, is the wish to release, if you like, the heaven that is held in our heart to earth. And what is actually, we'll come to this later if not sooner, what is even really interesting and profound is no two heavens are the same. Your pictures of loves are different than your pictures of loves. It's a different configuration. And that's clever. That's like a fingerprint, a unique fingerprint. But I believe it is a profound aspect of being human, this heart business. Really profound. Now, head's great at doing and sorting. It's great at getting there, but it's crap at being there. Being there is the place of the heart. And the heart can be in the moment. The head can't. It's working out next Tuesday, next Thursday, doing nothing in the pocket. Now, that's what the head does. It sorts and plans and organises and compassion, but the heart has a chance to touch the moment. Being in the now is a heart thing, not a head thing. So, knowing the heart. Okay. Okay. So that says, for those who can't read like me, each time we withhold our truth, withhold our light, withhold our love, we abandon who we really are. That's a bit heavy, sorry about that. I believe it's true. I believe, that truth, that light that we feel about things. This is what the person who's going to die is, they wish they'd been their true to themselves. They wish they had the courage to be who they are. And we have to have courage to be. It's sad. It's a bit weird to think, yeah, I've got to have courage to be who I am. It's like making a cup of tea. It's not. It's hard work. And it's strange that we have to have courage to be who we are. But it's very true. But I think it's to do with releasing that deep part of ourselves, which is why it's such a struggle. Besides, the world is really kind of almost conspiring the other way. So, this is my Aborigine guy. And it says, our will to express our loves is a sacred thread that leads to the very core of existence. And I wrote that probably about 7-8 years ago. I didn't realise it, but it's very core to what I've just written, the book I've just written. Right. Learning to love yourself. Learning to love yourself is tricky because you have to be soft to the parts of you that make you hard. And I don't like the grumpy of me, the sad of me, the parts of me that act as if I do not care. I name them as not me. And so driving a saw between the worthy and the unworthy. And so fracturing the consciousness. And it's easy to do. But the truth is, to love yourself means it's okay to be you. That was my bottom line. Someone said, what's the bottom line of learning to love yourself? I don't know, what's the real, it's okay to be you. Full stop. That'll do. Right, we're coming towards the end of this now. I don't want to rattle along too much. We've covered quite a lot of stuff. Looking after yourself is not selfish. It's absolutely paramount. Learning to love yourself, above walking nature, this is really important stuff. You are the most important person in the world. You are your own greatest companion. We've been with you all these years. There's no one more significant to your life than you. And how you look after you, how you care for yourself is very important. How much forgiveness you have for yourself is really very, very, very important. So looking after ourselves is learning to love yourself, or to love yourself you've got to learn to look after yourself. And forgiveness. It is a big subject, forgiveness. I was in a weekend retreat, a soul kind of a soul healing retreat for a weekend. And it was great, lovely stuff, beautiful, and meditations and all this stuff. And after it was over, I felt a huge sense of self-mercy and self-forgiveness. I thought, wow, nice stuff. I thought, yeah, more of this for me. It was huge. I worked 2 days up for it, I guess, that was fair enough. But then a week later, I compared to how I was feeling after a week to how I was after the course. And I realised by the absence how unmerciful I am to myself. And that was sobering and slightly frightening. Unknowingly unmerciful, unknowingly hostile, unknowingly begrudging, unknowingly harassing myself. Unfortunately, it's too easy to do. So learning ways to forgive yourself is not just a one-off. You know, forgive yourself on a Tuesday and it's fine for the rest of your life. You've got to keep doing it. You've got to keep finding ways to forgive yourself. Or remember that forgiving yourself is freaking paramount. Because we accrue stuff every day. We accrue stuff every month, every week. A phone call can have stuff and whatever. So being able to forgive yourself is really, really important. To get into the heart, for living happily, for not having so many diseases, you know, illnesses, anxiety and stress from self-harassment, kind of almost known. So there's lots of good reasons to be nice to yourself. Very good reasons. So each time I blame myself for being who I am, I fracture my consciousness, separating myself into the worthy and the unworthy, the loved and the unloved. We fracture our consciousness. We say, this is the bit I don't like, this is the bit I do like of me. And that's not healthy. We are all, I am the grumpy me and the happy me. Nothing that happens is not me. So, yeah, forgiving other people is always useful because it allows you to be happy again, but forgiving yourself is really healthy, really healthy. Okay. Oh, Christ. I thought we were nearly finished, we haven't done love yet. I suppose it had to be there, didn't it?
Sort of why we came. It's sort of why we came.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Don't worry, you'll get your section of it. Okay. Right. I was sitting at a grove of trees, and this was again after a kind of week's retreat I'd done, and I was trying to be religious. Look at the trees. I think I just look at the trees. I wouldn't try and be religious. I just relaxing now. And I began to feel the tree, and I felt its kind of energy, and I felt its connectivity to the other trees, and a whole sense of the forest glade kind of came around. And I realised that the tree was in love with being the tree that it was. It didn't want to be a different tree, it didn't want to be a daffodil, it was in love with being the tree that it was, and could not stop it. And I thought that's pretty And I reflected back in myself and I thought, wow, that's so different than humans' experience of love. Yeah, we kind of, each morning we wake up and we create our love. We muster ourselves towards what we love. We kind of go for it. We actually make love. A tree is in love, but we make it. We make it by our heart, by our will, by our passion, by our courage. We make love. We make love with things that go bright and shine. All great architecture, all beautiful things have been made by love. No great achievement happened without it. But we make it. We're not in it fixed like a tree forever. We have to get up in the morning and say, oh fuck it, here I go again, and go for it. And this is the nature of being human. Because in that remaking of love, we do really good creational work, by the way. It's good stuff. So, pure love is a white light that by our endeavour refracts into 1,000 colours. You know, the lights that surround a person through their loves of life is a unique picture. It's a unique display of colours, signals and frequencies. And it's unique to their heart.
Do you see this?
Hmm?
Do you see this?
Sorry.
Do you see this?
Sorry, my hearing's not very good.
Do you see this?
Do I see that? I know that. I know that for sure. It's obvious. No, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's surprising that it goes back to Gandalf. Small, simple acts of kindness and love. These are powerful. They're lights, little lights that happen in the world. Thousands of them. You know, the world will tell you, the media might tell you that Earth's a dark place. No, for every crap act, there's thousands of lights being lit by people all over the world. I'm sure of it. No, I'm sure of it. It's totally underestimated what pure humanity is. Really underestimated. It makes me a bit pissed off that it is
You
underestimated.
do see it.
Hmm?
You do see it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, yes I do. Okay, good. So, yeah. Okay, we're beginning to finish off now. Okay. So there, divining the divine soul. I think I like to think that there is a term deep heart. You know, there is a kind of normal heart which is brilliant, but there is also, it seems to me, a deeper level of heart. And it is from this place, and I'm sure you've all kind of had moments when you've been there, you felt there, you were in something that just felt like, wow. And your heart was open and something was going on, and you're never alone when you're at peace with yourself, and it's a peace that makes you realise you're not alone. I think I need to read this one up, and then we'll do a little exercise, and then we'll be finished. We're never really far away from the stream of life. It's only our thought that we are that makes it so. Okay. This was something I wrote from an experience. I looked into the mirror today and saw more than who I thought I was. Within the eyes was 1,000,000 years of purpose. I saw the depth of the universe and felt its unfaltering love. It was as if I'd seen the divine within myself, the truth of who we are, the us that never dies, the custodian of our purpose, the love of our life. Right. I know that to be a truth, but I don't know it all the time. So I write the book to try and remember to remember the truth that it is. And we all need to find ways to remember the truth that we wish to live with. The truth that makes us feel happy. And the truth that makes us feel bright. We have to remember because too many things will make us forget. So if there's anything taken away from this evening's session is remember to remember certain things. Your choice of what to remember, of course, is and must be your beautiful, unique choice. So last bit of do a final short meditation, something that you can repeat for yourself sometimes if you fancy it. Walking now and again, I don't like doing it at all. I go around the block. I have to, I'm getting old. I don't like doing it, but once I've done it, I go, and I get a stillness because of it. I can get a stillness when I'm with my cat. I can get a stillness when I'm in nature. I can get a stillness when I'm writing. I can get clobbered with a stillness. Allow this moment to be as it is, and that it is okay. You don't need to be anywhere else yet. You're happy here, and here is okay. What I'd like you to do is to put your heart, your hand on your heart. And put your hand on your heart. And allow your awareness to slowly come from your head to that part of your body. Allow it to sit there. This part of you that is unique, has a unique story to say. And allow yourself to just be gentle and rest there for a moment. Now I'm going to repeat some words. You can repeat to yourself. A small, three sets of short words. Allow yourself to relax. And the first words are, at this moment in time, you are safe. You can repeat that to yourself if you feel it to be so. You are safe. Allow yourself to feel you are safe. The second set of words is another simple set of words. And you can repeat them to yourself if you feel it to be so. You are loved. You are loved. This is true. You are loved. So that I'm safe. I am loved. We're certainly loved by creation. And the third set of words. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am safe. I am loved. And I am worthy. And I just have to be and sit with that just for a minute. And I'm now going to begin to wind this up now. And you're ready, open your eyes. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for your journey with me this evening. It's been my pleasure, and I hope you enjoyed it.
In the centre of the centre. That was really beautiful, thank you. I just sat there. I've got some of your amazing, pictures and cards from when you did the talk before. But going over these again, it was just so exquisite. And I picked, and I was writing various ones down, and then I was looking along there, and I thought, which one? And it was, which one shall I read out again at the end? And it was the divine self, which you had sort of, you know, one of the ones at your end talk, and I thought, I'm going to read it, and can I even read it without crying? And I'm going to try to do that again, because it's the divine self. I looked in the mirror today and saw more than who I thought I was. I saw the depth of the universe, the millions of years of purpose within my eyes. I saw the part of me that does not talk, that sings 1,000 songs. I saw the depth of the universe, the millions of years of purpose within my eyes. I saw the part of me that doesn't talk, but sings 1,000 songs. It was as if I had seen the divine within myself, the truth of who we really are, the us that never dies, the custodian of our purpose, the love of our life. I think that sums it all up. Don't know what to say other than just thank you. Thank you. It's just such a joy to sit here together, looking at those, feeling, listening. I thought about, it was, you know, at the beginning, when you were talking about the mind, you know, the heart having become the slave of the mind, and I was thinking about the experience that most of us have of going to school in the conventional schools and having the person training. And I was lucky because I moved schools and I moved schools and I moved schools until I eventually managed to move myself out of the city and into the countryside, so that I could just be and feel and and leave that do my best to leave that training and to be in the heart. which kind of comes back to me talking about Michaelmas at the end, because Michaelmas for me was the day at my school when we didn't have any lessons. We were sent into the yard to sweep leaves, and that just felt embodied and in nature. So reflecting upon the tree, loving the being itself. So we'll have, I'm going to ask if, actually I forgot about questions. Does anybody have any questions?
Something did occur to me when you were talking about the impossibility of the heart being in fear. And what we all got to face is that our hearts are at times in a fearful world. And it's very important with what you develop later on about the strengthening of the connection of the heart. Part of the reason it's so important to strengthen that connection is because by living in a fearful world but being very heart-placed, we make a huge difference. That seems to me being one of our Glastonbury's great accomplishments, if you like, that, you know, right the way through this whole experience of the last couple of years, people have been very loving, it seems to me.
Yeah.
And that's crucial, crucial to our way through this, I think.
Yeah. I think also too, when you truly accept yourself, you develop compassion. And when you can do that, you automatically give it to other people. It becomes, because it's part of you. But being able to have compassion for yourself is a really great step. Really great step. Is that a question?
Yes,
Sure.
I just wanted to say first of all thank you. It was a really beautiful, enlightening talk.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to ask, would you, I think you might have answered it there, but would you say that it is with compassion that is the tool to take yourself when you notice you are being too head-centered to heart-centered? You know, I guess what I'm asking is tips
Yeah.
to, recognise and how to move from more head-centered to heart-centered. Feeling,
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
But when you say compassion, there's something like, maybe it's just...
When you, if you begin to become more, the more sensitive you are of yourself, I began to feel more and more uncomfortable about the hurt I was doing to myself. You know what I mean? I used to go through my day, give myself shit, and I can handle it. As I became more sensitive, I felt the hurt I was doing to myself. And I thought, ooh, this is not so good, not so nice. So there is a journey of self-awareness that's very important, because that allows you to say, hold on a minute, that's not doing me, that's hurting. and we don't want to hurt ourselves if we can see we're hurting ourselves. Yeah? And if we can see it, we can withdraw the knife and drop it or something. So self-awareness is a great tool. And then secondly, just remembering that there is a heart. All that the power of the heart is important for you. It's a bit, how can you explain it? It's a bit like a bank account. You want money in your bank account because of what you can do because of it. You want to know your heart because it'll help you guide the rest of your life. So knowing the heart, or knowing that it's important, knowing that you care for it, knowing that it's got your ticket written in it, it's all great stuff. There was exercise I could have done, which was get a bit of paper and put at one end 0, and then the other end, however old you are now, draw a line and do lots of decades or something. And then look through your life to see what you loved. These flavours of loves when you were 5, when you were 12, when you were 22, they're not arbitrary. They're really not arbitrary. They are the emergence of your unique loves of life. And they're good to know. Because in doing them, in following them, in honouring them, you get more of it. This is why, it's part of the knowing your heart exercise, is to know what you love and to accept what you love. I like cooking, I love water, I am addicted to going to the seaside and just staring at water. I don't know why, but I've always done it. There's something about it that some soul of me really goes for. Actually reminds me of the final saying of the talk. The heart knows what the mind cannot see. This is for sure. The heart does know a shed load more than the mind would ever see. But also, the soul lives in what the heart loves. Yeah. That's important to remember.
What part does stillness play?
Huh?
What part does stillness play? What part?
Stillness? Very important. So I don't be casual. Your stillness. Hold on a minute, it's an interesting question. To know what gives you stillness. Things give us stillness. Yeah. I do job.